So London, the 17th of January 2015. I'm talking with Agathe today. Hello, Agathe.
Hello, Conrad.
You've traveled a lot. Where have you been to?
Many places. So South America, Southeast Asia, Europe. So I went on a 4 or 5 month trip last year to Southeast Asia. So Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia. In South America, I went to Argentina, Brazil, and Peru. And I did travel a bit around Europe, and I went to the US once.
And where are you from originally?
France.
Where about?
Lille, north of France, not far from Belgium.
So didn't you want to stay there? What's the big deal about traveling?
I started traveling when I was 17. I went to Australia for 1 year, and all my travel, love of traveling, just started there. And then I started studying languages, which was a good way to travel and go abroad.
It helped you while traveling?
Yes. I mean, I studied English and Spanish, which was a really nice excuse to go to English-speaking countries and Spanish-speaking countries.
Do you believe that if you went to Italy, you're supposed to speak at least some Italian?
I think so. I mean, it does help when you go to a country and you don't speak the language, just you learn a few words, just hi, thank you, please. I mean, it's always nice for people, for other people, just to try speaking their language. I've been to countries when I couldn't speak a word of the language, but just saying hello, people, or usually they smile, say, oh, thank you for trying.
So what skills, other skills and attitudes do you develop while traveling?
Being independent. I mean, I've always felt independent. But when I've traveled on my own, I've traveled with friends, so put your family and friends aside and just go outside, meet new people.
Where are you going next?
I'm going to Gabon in Africa in March.
And how have you prepared for this trip?
I haven't prepared much. My cousin lived there, so he's been living in Gabon for a few years now. So it's more like going with some family members to visit him.
And have you Googled Gabon? Have you checked anything about this country?
Not really, actually. I mean, I just bought my tickets. I think we'll see when we get there. I trust my cousin.
Other places you went to that you haven't been before or your relatives have never lived in. How do you prepare for those trips?
Usually I buy a travel book, like The Lonely Planet, which it's a nice way to read about the country, like the history, anything about the social life, demography, just a few facts. And then, I usually, when I go online, I like to check the forums and what people say online.
And a stereotypical French person, what would they look for?
Bread for breakfast, yes.
And an English person?
A pub. I don't know.
And what do you always take with you?
So travel book, usually a knife.
A knife? Can you travel with a knife?
Yeah. I mean, when I go away for a long time.
So do you go hunting then?
I mean, it's always helpful, even to cut cheese and bread, to make a sandwich. A sleeping bag, music, so iPod, iPhone, an iPad, books. Or I've got a Kindle now, so it's good you can bring lots of books when you travel. Good shoes, running shoes, walking shoes.
Say you were cast away on an island for a long time and you had a plate of rock to write on, just about you. What would it be?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think my life is that significant, so I haven't achieved anything for the world, like world peace or anything.
So what would Hitler write? He was significant.
Yeah, I wouldn't be interested in reading his book. I think I would just write anything about my life, my troubles. Like, I would think, if my family, my descendants can read that, I'd like them to know what I've done. I think, I'm not proud, but I'm really happy with all my travels I've done. So, probably love my family to know about it.
And are you more French, more English, halfway through, more to the English side, more to the French side?
I think I'm definitely French, and because I've been abroad quite a lot, so I can adapt to different cultures. I think that's one of the things when you travel, you learn to adapt to new environments. I mean, I love the fact that I'm French. I love my culture, my country, but I still live in the UK, so that, I mean, there's a reason for that. And so yeah, I love everything. I love the British culture, and I've really enjoyed all cultures I've met when I was traveling. So I think I can adapt well. So I'm not really completely French.
And when you come back home to Lee, do you catch yourself being a little bit English? Do you ask your mom to prepare, I don't know, beans on toast for breakfast?
uh, no, I mean, when I'm in the UK, I don't mind. Like, I like eating beans on toast and eggs for breakfast. But if I'm in France, I will eat a croissant and bread, and fresh bread. Like some people told me, oh, you're so English. Maybe the way I dress, or
The way you dress?
like my sister sometimes she's telling me, oh, you look so English, and in a cute way. I don't.
What is she commenting? What is she meaning
I don't know.
when she says that?
I don't really know. It's maybe just the idea that she has of English people or the way they dress. I don't know. Like one funny story. When I came, so I spent 1 year in Australia when I was 17, and in Australia I was going to school, but it was really hot in the summer, so I was wearing shorts and flip flops. I wasn't supposed to wear flip flops, but I still went to school wearing flip flops. I think I didn't wear closed shoes for a long time. So when I got home after 1 year, it was the summer in France, and one day I was wearing shorts and I had flip flops, and I told my mom, I'm going to the supermarket, and she told me, what? Like you dress this way and you're going like to the supermarket? I was like, yes. And she told me like you can't go to the supermarket wearing shorts and flip flops. I don't know. It was quite funny, and I look at her like, why? I mean, it's fine. Like in Australia, it was fine.
So probably being surrounded by people and places and ways of doing things in a different culture, we somehow adopt certain aspects of that culture, do you think?
Yeah, I think you do.
Even subconsciously, maybe.
Yeah, so I think sometimes you don't realize it. But I enjoy after work going to the pub at 6, and then I'm go home at 9 and had like few drinks, or if I go out on a Friday night, I would go home at 10 and I'm probably already really drunk. But in France, I would never go out before 8. And in Spain, you don't eat dinner before 10, 11, and I was fine. I don't mind eating dinner at 6 or 7, which I would never do in France or in Spain.
So in France, does this pub culture exist?
And we go out a lot, but it's just different way. We mostly go to bars. I think now people they call after work events, so they go to bars after work, but it's different from the pub. Like the British pub, you go with your family on Sunday, and it's all fine. That's not something you do in France.
Okay, so a pub in France is a place where you go with your friends or your mates from your workplace, not with your family, with kids.
Yes, you would never go to a pub or a bar with your kids. I mean, you would go to a restaurant or a cafe, but not a pub.
What pisses you off when people talk about France?
People say, people believe we are arrogant, which in a way it's true. I mean, I think French people are generally really proud of their country. That's not something I brag about, being French. Like, when they call you French frogs, I mean, it's funny once, but not all the time. American people, lots of the cliches like we don't shave or we don't shower, which is not true at all. So sorry. So sometimes the first time you say it's funny, and then the people keep talking about this because it's not true. So it's just not really funny anymore.
They say that there are hierarchies in France, and imagine you're a captain and have 5 people in your boat. You need to feed the sharks with 3 of them. Does it matter who stays and who goes?
I don't know. I mean, I think in maritime law they have a rule that the captain is the last one to stay on the boat, the last one, the first one to die. So I don't think it will apply. I think at work, like in the workplace, you do have to show more respect to your manager, your director. Like, I haven't worked in France for a long time, so I don't really know what it's like now. Maybe with the language, because we have a formal and an informal way of saying you in French. So maybe we do respect that a bit more than maybe in Spanish you use the informal way to address anyone, which we won't do in French. So maybe it's related, I don't know. But sometimes when I go home, I know some people I'm supposed to use the informal way, but they are maybe 5 years older than me, so I don't think I should. I mean, I think the informal way would be fine and not the formal way. So sometimes it's just struggling. Or in English, you like if you receive an email at work from a client or someone else, you will always call them by their first name, which you would never do in France. So if I receive an email from a client or from, I don't know, from the bank, you always say dear Mr. or Mrs. whatever. And now I feel like I should use their first name, and then I realize, oh no, that would be really rude. You would never do that.
So if you are in England and you send an email to a French client, how would you salute them?
Well, if I write the email in English, then I would probably use the English way. So I could call them by their first name. I mean, because they are maybe used to the English way and the English-speaking country's culture. But if I have to write in French to a client, or even because I work in translation, so if I write to a translator, which normally we speak in like informal way, I would feel really weird because I would call them by the first name, and then I would use the formal way of addressing them with vous, and it just feel not natural. But if I say tu, so the informal way, straight away it would feel rude. So usually when I write in French, when I write to French people, I just write in English. So I avoid any confusion or weird situation.
What is it about the French culture that people usually don't know?
We have certain rules with dinner and like family lunch and stuff. Like I know the fork needs to go on the left from the plate and the knife on the right side, which is that's the way it is. So I would never put the forks the other way. And
in England, a waitress just whacks a basket of cutlery in front of you, and you just help yourself.
There are a few things, like there's just lots of rules with food, and I don't know, maybe people don't really like. It's not rude if you don't respect the rule, but it's just way of it's not rules. I would say it's more ways of doing things.
3 things that make you a proud French.
Cheese, hundreds of kind of cheese in France. The country is quite beautiful and pretty. And I know we have a cliche of being rude people and really unfriendly.
That's what they say about Parisians, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it is true in a way, but I mean, when I've been around France in Paris or in different cities and in countryside, I've met really kind people, friendly. We are nice people, but it's true that if you don't speak French, it might be harder to get your way around and talk to people.
I was talking to my colleague at work, and I asked her, when you think of French people, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? And she said to me, the French kiss a lot.
I mean, they say Paris is a city of love. I don't know if it's true. In movies and in literature, in books, they make this romantic way of living in France. Maybe the cliché comes from outside, not France itself.
And touching as a way to communicate with someone.
I think if you think of Europe, we're like in between, like South Europe countries like Spain and Italy, they are really tactile people. They touch you and they say hello. Like we do kiss. It's not really kiss, but we touch on the cheeks when we say hi. But we don't really. It's not really. We don't touch each other. When in Spain they can give you a kiss and a hug in a way. So we're not like that. But I've met people from Eastern Europe or the Scandinavian, and they shake your hands, and or even in English-speaking countries, like when you meet people from the same age of you and they shake your hand to say hi because you never met them before, which is strange for us because we will always kiss if we are from the same age, or if we're friends of friends, then we will kiss.
What other culture or country is closer to you if you put away the French side?
I think, I don't know, like British culture, because living in the UK, then you can adopt the country's culture. French, British, westernized culture.
Maximum security or total freedom?
Total freedom.
Total freedom. I wanted to ask you about the 11th of January march in France. What do you make of this event, this Charlie Hebdo?
Quite emotional. You see all, like, I think they said 3 to 4 million people walking, like, gathering in France, which was really good because, I mean, after what happened, you felt like I think we felt like we needed to be with around people and to show that we're not afraid and we support, and freedom of speech. In London I went to, there was a rally in Trafalgar Square.
I read a story about a comedian in France. After this Charlie Hebdo, he was arrested for controversial word ban he put on Facebook using the sentence "Je suis Charlie Hebdo." I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And allegedly it was supporting terrorism. And people were asking, why can they arrest someone for putting up a comment on Facebook? We all stand for freedom of speech.
It's a really interesting question. I've kind of read a lot this week on this. So this comedian is famous for, I mean, for the last 10 years he's been making comments and on his shows, like, really against Jewish people and Israel and stuff. So, I mean, he's been condemned a few times already. So it's not the first time he says something like that. And the difference with the magazine, with Charlie Hebdo and all the newspapers, is like they made fun of Islam, but also religion. But there was nothing. It can be seen as offensive, but it was nothing about terrorism. And what he said and what he said before, it was. We call it apology to terrorism, saying like he kind of not encouraged, but say like what was done is nothing. So, I mean, then, and I'm not a fan of his work and what he says. I think it's not funny anymore. And
what about the other faiths, other religions? Because Charlie Hebdo was portraying other religions in a mocking way as well, and nobody really opposed it as much before.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a complicated topic and quite. I mean, I don't have any religion, so for me it's easy. I mean, I would accept any criticism or any cartoon on any religion because I don't have a religion, but. They did mock any religion, Jewish religion, Christianism, Islam, but I think because in Islam, from what I understand, they can't portray, like they can't draw a picture of the prophet, whereas in Christianism there are lots of pictures of Jesus and God. So I think that's why the Muslim world reacted against the cartoons, but they can't say that Charlie Hebdo was against Islam because they mocked any religion, and they mocked and they will still mock any politician, any political parties, anything in the society.
I was reading about this Charlie Hebdo, and apparently in 2011 there was some sort of terrorist attack alert, and nobody really stopped. Do you think this could be avoided? Let's say if the extremists took on a different route and started a dialogue instead of killing people.
Yes, I mean, if everyone in the world was talking, and the world would be better way. And it's not nothing about religion anymore, because I don't think Islam doesn't encourage this kind of violence. And then like there's nothing in the religion saying like you should avenge your prophet. But I think when it comes to these people, they're so extreme. There's nothing to be done. Like
In a way, there is a paradox that because of what happened in Paris, Charlie Hebdo gained some worldwide attention as a satire magazine, and at the same time, it hit on Islamic religion in a way, I think, because so many people, more even now, in media portray Muslims as terrorists.
yeah, I think it does give them a bad reputation. And there was a few things that happened like after the attacks in Paris. People reacting against Muslim people, and which is so untrue, because Muslim people they all condemned the attacks. Which so what happened is nothing with Islam, because they were attacked before. You said in 2011, and so they had police with them all the time, and a lot of security measures. Well, so they kept doing what they wanted to do, because that was what they believed in. But yeah, this week there were a lot of protests in Muslim countries against the new Charlie Hebdo issues. Yeah, I understand the way they react, but I think it's just lack of communication. And maybe people said, yeah, Charlie Hebdo is against Muslim, and you read people saying that, but it's not true, because they are making fun of all the religions. No one deserves to die for what they say or write.
And on the other hand, again, where is the freedom of speech? Is there any limit to it? Can we go and mock everyone and anyone, any religion, and people's feelings? Do you think this is right?
I mean, it's just my opinion. I would say yes. Like I believe in freedom of speech, as long as it doesn't say anything untrue, or it doesn't encourage violence or terrorism. Yeah, it's really It's a tough debate and really hard topic. Like, as it comes from me, yes, I would say freedom of speech first.
And do you think the government should encourage Charlie Hebdo to publish more of this satire portraits of Muhammad?
I think because France is a secular country, they should, because they should not encourage making like more cartoon on this religion. They should encourage the magazine to keep working, and because they were struggling with financially before the attack, so everyone should help them so they could keep working, but not just making fun of Islam, making fun of everything. Because this newspaper is now famous from the cartoon they made on Muhammad, but they used to make fun of all our politicians and everything about society, gay people, any religion, any races. So I think government should encourage them, because we are a secular country and we encourage freedom of speech.
And if the government was to support this sort of practice, do you think in a way they should also provide stronger security measures?
Well, I think they did, because they had policemen following them all the time, like every time they went to public places, and they had a policeman in the newspaper office who died on this day. So I think like ideally they should have more people, more resources trying to find those terrorists before they attack, which would be the ideal world, because I know it demands a lot of people and a lot of money. There could be limits to freedom of speech, but it was their freedom to write what they thought and what they believed in.
And the reader's freedom is to buy the magazine or not.
Yes, definitely. I mean, if you don't like what they do, you don't agree with their idea, then you don't have to buy it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.